all the time, investors ask me, how do land investors make money? How do people make money on raw land? Which I will confess, for the longest time, I did not understand myself. So I'm very excited today to bring in JD Hill and Aaron Shoemaker. They are the co-founders of LandX, a land investing company, which has nearly $50 million in assets under management. And I love having these conversations with people. In our co-investing club, we bring in outside real estate experts and investing partners all the time to come and speak with our investment club members. And we get to do the same thing on the podcast, bringing in a lot of these niche experts to talk to us about this. So, JD, Aaron, I would love to hear from you guys. What are some of the ways that land investors actually make money?
Uh, Thanks for asking. Great question. We're really excited to be here and sharing with your audience here. There's a lot of ways that you can actually make money in lands, and I'll say one quick way that we primarily focus on. And Aaron, maybe you can add some color to it or share a different way. But I think most people are probably familiar with Costco, right? You go to Costco, you buy in bulk. That's the whole purpose of Costco, is to buy in bulk at discount prices. And so that's essentially what we're doing with land. So at Costco, you can go buy, 24 bottles of water for $10, right? And then you can turn around and you can break those bottles of water out of the package and sell them for a dollar 50, or $2 a piece. And you did nothing different to that water, right? You didn't add anything extra to, you didn't add any electrolytes, you didn't add some Splenda, you didn't add anything to it. It's the same water that was already previously packaged. The difference is that you just took it out of the package and now you sold it individually. And so we do that with land. So we'll go out and we'll buy large plots of lands. We'll subdivide it into smaller parcels, which immediately forces appreciation. And so what's amazing about that, especially as somebody who Aaron and I both, we used to flip houses, is you used to have to add value to real estate in order to increase the value. Well, in lands, we don't have to add any type of material infrastructure necessarily in order to increase the value of the lands. All we have to do is make it smaller and the price per acre goes up. And so that's one of the ways that we make money selling land, is by buying large chunks of land, making it smaller by drawing lines on a map, and then turning around and selling off the individual parcels at a higher price per acre.
Yeah, no, makes perfect sense. And I love that. I love that you guys are not messing around with contractors, renovations, permits, tenants, property managers, any of that stuff. So, but there are other ways to invest in land too. So, what are some of the other ways that either you guys have invested in land or you've seen other land investors make money with raw land investing?
Yeah, absolutely. So what JD mentioned is our primary strategy. Some of the other strategies that are out, it's kind of like uh, flipping a house. So there are projects where people will find an infill lot, say, which means a lot in between multiple houses. They'll take that lot and then they'll find a way to buy it for less than it's worth to market value, and then they'll sell it to a home builder who can build a home. And typically, a home builder will budget about a quarter of the price of what they're ultimately going to sell that home for will be the price of the land. So if you can acquire that land for half of that, there are folks that are out there that are buying land and then they will ultimately find a cadre of home buyers. So that's another way. We are not executing that strategy, but that's another common way they'll do it. And there's plenty of ways to go about trying to do it. Direct mail campaigns are pretty successful in that arena. Another way that everybody's probably pretty familiar with, everybody's probably heard of D.R. Horton. Pul- um, I think it's Pulte Homes, not Poultry Homes. But you can buy these large plots of land, and this is, in a sense, what we're doing. We're not necessarily selling to end home builders, but they'll buy these large plots of land. They will go through a process of entitling them for different use. So this is, maybe one of the more sophisticated strategies of going to the county and getting approval to, use the land for a higher and better use than what it, might have started as a grapefruit farm, like some of the land that we've purchased. And then they're able to turn that grapefruit farm into a 500 home subdivision. And, sorry to the grapefruit farmers, that land, once it's a 500 unit subdivision, is worth a lot more than when it was producing pink fruit. So So nonetheless, those are, JD, you might talk about one of the strategies that a lot of our friends are doing, kind of the land geek model that we don't really do a ton of, but others are also doing out there.
Yeah, I think the other thing too is most people think land doesn't cash flow, right? People think if I'm going to buy cash flow in real estate, I want to buy a long-term rental or a short-term rental. That's where I play in the cash flow game. The interesting thing is that land actually can cash flow if you look at it from the right perspective. And so there is a large subset community inside of land where they will go and buy recreational type properties and generally in rural type areas at 20 to 30 cents on the dollar and then turn around and sell it on owner finance through Facebook Marketplace of all places for 100 to 120% of market value on seller finance terms. So they'll accept $500 to $1,000 down, and they'll sell it for anywhere from $300 to maybe $1,500 a month for 6 to 10 years. And that is a very, very attractive strategy because again, you don't have a structure on the property. So the eviction process is very easy, right? Because you're not like there's nobody there, right? So getting the property back through foreclosure is very easy. And then you just remarket the property, you get another down payment. Obviously, you don't want to have to go through a foreclosure process, but the process from doing that versus through houses is a lot simpler because again, you don't have a structure on the property. And most people, and this is interesting, since COVID, there's really been this insatiable desire of consumers to want to go out away from major metropolitan areas and own a piece of their own land, a piece of their own property that's theirs, right? That they can either put a mobile on or an RV on, or maybe even long term actually build something themselves so they can have their family and those types of things out there. And so there's a large subset of folks that are actually cash flowing lands on owner finance terms, which is really interesting.
Yeah, so we've had Mark Podolsky, the land geek, on the show before, and Benny, my partner, and I have actually done some land investing ourselves in
Yeah.
that strategy. We ended up pulling back just because we were kind of dabbling in it, and we could see how it works and we could see the results. We just weren't putting the effort in that's
Yeah.
required. I mean, it is a business. It's not purely passive, right? So we just decided that we did not want to build an entire side business around that. But it's a great model. And one nice thing about that model is when you do the owner financing, you can structure it as an installment contract. So if
Right.
if a buyer defaults, you don't actually have to foreclose. You can just retake possession of the land and then you can market to someone else. And of course, some land investors are going out there and buying lots specifically to build houses on, to build new construction spec homes on, which is another way to earn money on land investments as well. So yeah, no, I love that there are so many ways to earn money on land investments, and I want to talk to you guys soon in a separate episode about the risk to reward ratio, the risk to return ratio on some of these investments, because it can be, quite attractive. But that is a conversation for another day. In the meantime, JD and Aaron, in 30 seconds or less, how do you help people and how can people connect with you if they want to take you up on that help?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's two ways that folks can actually partner with us. We have two funds. You can go to landx.land, and we have an equity fund where folks can come alongside us in these subdivides that we do, where we pay a 10% preferred return, and we're targeting 25 to 30% IRRs in about 12 to 24 months. So that's one way. The other side is for folks that are looking for truly passive income. We'll take that hard work out of the way of actually building the land geek model, and we'll take all of that away from you, and we'll do it ourselves. And we'll help what you can actually share in those returns with us. And so that's our debt fund that pays 10 to 12% quarterly returns passively to investors. So you don't have to go out and actually do the marketing. You don't have to go out and actually negotiate. We'll do all that for you, and we'll pay you quarterly interest on that. So those are the two ways, again, that you can partner with us. Just go to landx.land and you can see some of our past projects.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on today. And for the audience members out there, if you enjoy these quick, focused conversations that we have, please rate, review the show. It makes a world of difference to us. And on that note, we will catch you on the flip side. Wondering how private equity real estate investing works? We get it. A lot of investors are put off by phrases like private equity or real estate syndication, but these completely passive investments are actually a lot easier than buying properties directly, buying properties yourself in your own name. So we offer a free 40-minute class called Hack the Rich, 7 Secrets We've Learned from Private Equity Real Estate. There's not even a sales pitch at the end. we'll show you how to invest in these on your own without any help from us. So go to sparkrental.com/hack to take the free class. And we can't wait to chat about your questions.